subscribe and, like the video.
Dignity and respect on that stage, seeing former presidents, the Supreme Court, it should be normally a joyous moment. I could not help but be under that great dome and not think about 4 years earlier where there were these horrific violent acts taking place, and that he...
Dude, oh my God. Let it go, man. Let it go, dude. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's over. You lost, dude. Like, on the one hand, I too find it so ridiculous that a shitty loser who could not contend with losing the election fair and square tried to do the funniest insurrection of all time. Okay? But if you consistently talk about how traumatized you were because of January 6th, it's like, I'm sorry, it's impossible for me to feel any type of way about you, in any sympathy for you, especially when I have to be reminded of your incompetence allowing that man to win again. Like, it just feels like you're milking it, dude. It feels like you're just still milking it. And part of the reason why you lost is because you're milking it. You milked it so hard that people were like, all right, that cow no longer has any milk in the titty. Okay, stop with the milking. A second allegation hit the towers? What are you talking about? Like, dude, it's crazy to me that they're talking about, what? They're talking about this January 6th. Meanwhile, this dude is talking about D. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you're talking about Destiny. Oh, I do know what you're talking about. I already talked about it. I talked about it yesterday, remember? 2 women have come forward. Yeah, one of them was his ex-wife. I know. It's not even a who cares situation. You'll most likely see more people talking about it because it seems like there's litigation involved as well. Destiny Stephen Kenneth Bonnell II is accused of illegally sharing revenge porn and is being sued by one of his victims. Yeah, I didn't understand it at the time when, like, everyone was talking about how, like, whether he sucked Nicholas Fuentes' dick or not. But, like, what I was always shocked by is the fact that he had sent someone that he was trying to have sex with, a 19-year-old, numerous videos of him having sex with other people. And only after I saw Melina, his ex-wife, talk about how he did not give Destiny consent to share the footage of them having sex with other people, did I realize that this was actually a lot worse than the speculation of whether or not he had sucked a Nazi's penis or not, and that he was inappropriately sharing sexual material that he had filmed with other people, with random people, which is illegal. Like, literally. You seem to have more knowledge regarding Twitter streamer Dahmer than the U.S. government. If you think I have more knowledgeable over this dumb shit than the U.S. government, you have not been paying attention. He said valid. At least he recognizes it. How is this guy allowed to walk the streets? Because bad people do not get punished, especially if they're shameless. There it is. That's the response. Okay? I mean, look around. Donald Trump is president right now. How do you think that happened? That's it. Especially if you develop a community of, like, rabid sycophants who are not there for any sort of, like, political movement or anything like that, and simply just revolve around your day-to-day existence and will fight for your battles without even thinking about their own, without thinking about, what these actions look like or if they're good or bad. And especially if you have a relatively decent and sophisticated media operation where you constantly are pumping videos of you dunking on literally the dumbest PUA guys on the planet, you can kind of get away with that for a very long time, as he has, especially when your core base of support that are knowledgeable on all of the ridiculous and awful and cruel shit that you do don't actually care because they like the chaos. That's it. What is this? Trump's corruption is bad and wrong, but most people also see Biden pardoning his son and now preemptively pardoning his whole family. Nancy Pelosi's stock trading, and the Clintons setting up an influence peddling operation, and NGO's corruption too. I mean, this isn't wrong. This is actually correct. The reason Trump's corruption is going to be such a gift to the Dems is that he doesn't try to hide it because he doesn't think it's wrong. But most Americans do think it's wrong. No, they don't. You want to know something funny? Trump's corruption being out in the open unironically makes people think he's more honest than the secretive ways in which the Democrats do dealing. They think the Democrats are corrupt and also simultaneously try to hide their corruption through sophisticated measures. Whereas Trump just kind of does it out in the open and says, oh, I'm doing it for you. So it's even dumber than that. Most Americans literally look at that and go, okay, that makes sense. Because you should never forget, okay? American foreign policy is uniparty, right? American foreign policy is uniparty. Pretty much bipartisan, right? Let's take a look at giving weapons to Saudi Arabia, for example, something that, because it's uniparty, the Democratic Party has done, and something that the Republican Party has done. When Trump was president and Mohammed bin Salman got Jamal Khashoggi, an American legal permanent resident and a Washington Post reporter, chopped up in the Saudi consulate in Turkey, in Istanbul, okay, and was outed for assassinating him, the media was up in arms. And they were like, how dare you, Trump? I can't believe, what are you going to do about Saudi Arabia? And Trump was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give him billions of dollars of weapons. And the media went back to him and said, you're going to give him billions of dollars of weapons, but he killed a journalist. What's happening? Right? To which Donald Trump turned around and said, are you going to give me $1 billion for these weapons? They're going to get it anyway. If they don't get it from us, they're going to get it from Russia. People looked at that and went, oh yeah, that actually does make sense. Okay? That's it. That is open corruption. That is honest with your dishonesty. That is Trump's modus operandi. Whereas, under similar circumstances, the way that the Democrats operate come across as cynical and hypocritical, because the Democrats try to present themselves as like the world peace champions, somehow morally above all of this stuff, where they will, on the one hand, try to manufacture consent, on the other hand, engage in a metric ton of violence overseas, but will also do it in a very smarmy way. We'll also do it in a way where they're like, no, this is actually good for the world peace. We are the world peacekeepers. We have an international rule-based order that we must maintain, while simultaneously eroding it. And you'll see this. You'll see the hypocrisy in full display when Donald Trump ends up, of course, allowing Israel to roll over Gaza and kill as many Palestinians as possible. Okay? It's that simple. Democrats try to manufacture consent and spit on your face and tell you it's raining. Trump spits on your face and says, yeah, I spit on your face. What are you going to do about it? I spit on your face and it's good for you. Okay? Democrats spit on your face, tell you it's raining, and say, how dare you? How dare you claim we're spitting on your face? Trump spits on your face and says, hey, there wasn't any other space for me to spit on. You know? What are you going to do? And people go, yes, you're right, sir. I deserve to be spit on by you. That's the difference. Okay? So in that regard, people actually consider Trump's dishonesty in broad daylight to be a refreshing and new way of governance. Okay? That's it. That is the major difference here. If corruption is uniparty, if foreign policy is uniparty, and one side is at the very least saying like, yeah, we're fucked up, we're bad, but everyone's bad. It is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. People, I think, respond to that more positively. Liberals, on the other hand, liberal voters in general, and people who find themselves to be intellectuals, who read the New York Times and read NPR and all this stuff, they want this kind of intellectual veneer to hide the shame, to hide the open corruption. They like that. They think that that is like a better way to approach the subject matter. They want to delude themselves into believing that they are doing good at the end of the day, but it's too hard. Things are simply too complicated. Republicans don't want that. And they don't think that. They don't think it's too complicated. And in some instances, it's not that complicated. Like in Israel, it's not that complicated. Okay? So that's what it is. That's the difference here. So no, I don't think Trump's corruption is going to be such a gift to the Democrats, because most people also think the Democrats are corrupt as well. And for good reason, they think this. And in any case, Donald Trump's transparent graft is oftentimes cherished and celebrated, because a lot of people also personally think that Trump is doing it for them. I mean, think about it this way. It's incredibly complicated. Are you serial? Israel's incredibly complicated. Israel's doing a genocide. Israel, when it's not doing a genocide, maintains an apartheid. Both of these things are completely immoral and also illegal under international law, if you care about that sort of thing. Israel couldn't do any of those things without American political cover and American material support. And because of that, we have it doesn't matter what both sides feeling like they're legitimate does not change the dynamic even a fraction. You understand? Israel does not have a say in this process. We do, okay? We do. We do. America does. Any notion that Israel has a say in this process is utterly delusional. Okay? Even with a complex, sophisticated web of espionage and blackmail operations, Israel still does not have any control over the situation as long as Americans say, you're done. Okay? That's it. Because we supply Israel with 69% of its weapons. We supply Israel with 69% of its weapons. We do. Do you understand? Without our steady flow of munitions into Israel and without the complex web of surveillance that we have cultivated in the region, specifically to defend Israel and offer Israel new targets to bomb, for example, with our weapons, with our Air Force that they've rebranded as their own, with our bombs that they drop on top of the civilian population, Israel would not be able to do even a little bit of that genocide. They couldn't, okay? No, don't do the both sides stuff and the Holy Land. I don't know what you're talking about. Listen to my words. None of that matters, okay? We're talking about America right now. We're talking about America. Israel would never be able to do even a fraction of the damage or death or destruction if America did not allow it. If America did not have a grand design for the region where they want Israel to maintain control over the entirety of the region, none of this would happen, okay? None of this would happen. So when we have this awesome amount of power over Israel and we are wielding Israel like a weapon, okay, in the region, even though it is a belligerent attack dog that somehow, sometimes actually does escape the leash, we still give them that assurance. We still give them that protection, okay? If we wanted to, as is the case with a belligerent rabid dog, we could put it down if we wanted to. We could cage it if we wanted to. We choose not to. It's that simple. America could end Israel's bloodshed with one singular phone call. Okay? Either you recognize that reality or you think, or you personally think, that Steve Witkoff, Donald Trump's golf partner and real estate developer, random guy, is a brilliant foreign policy mind that was somehow able to stop Israel and make them concede to the ceasefire negotiations that have been on the table since December 2023. The exact conditions that Hamas had actually presented in December 2023. So which is it? Is Steve Witkoff the greatest foreign policy mind that anyone has ever seen? Or can even a random dickhead who was a real estate developer and a golfing buddy of Donald Trump, before Trump is even the fucking president, could go there and be like, I'm acting as the envoy here. You're going to fucking abide by the ceasefire, no matter what kind of political penalties you might get. Which is it? That's how much power we have over Israel. You understand? That it doesn't even have to be the president. It doesn't even have to be the president-elect. It can be the president-elect's golf buddy that tells Israel to fucking stand down, and they stand down. Forcing him to meet on a Saturday. On a holy day. What do you think that is? Anyway, having said that, we have this level of power over Israel, and you'll see what Donald Trump lets Israel do. Just wait, because things are going to get much, much worse still, okay? Can you remind us how this OG plan came together and why Biden is claiming he wrote it? They lie about everything. Biden lied about every step of the process. And it's not unique to Biden either. So did Bill Clinton in the so-called peace process and the peace negotiations that took place. They lied during the meetings. They lied after the meetings. They leaked key details of the meetings that favored Israel. This is just the way America operates for the same reasons, because Palestine and Palestinians are a thorn on American foreign policy's side. Israel is our settler colony. We took it over from the British, okay? And because the mainstream press, especially in the Western world, no matter how independent they present themselves to be, is a mouthpiece and a stenographer for the State Department, when the State Department says this is our interest, mainstream press will also actively delude the population. That's why everyone not here that wasn't listening to me, when they come in here, are shocked when they find out new information that completely contradicts what they've been reading on the New York Times. It's like, what? This doesn't make sense. Anyway, Donald Trump halts foreign aid for 90 days. Oh, another one at the top of the hour, nonetheless. Another incredible, brilliant executive order has hit the towers, dude. Once again, at the top of the hour, nonetheless, we have yet another fantastic, phenomenal foreign aid Foreign aid halted. What does that mean? Does that mean no aid to Ukraine? Does that mean no aid to Israel? I doubt that Israel is included in this. We'll see. I'll look into it a little bit further. Didn't you make a deal to do a photo shoot? What? Yeah, I said I would show hole and dick and balls if Donald Trump ended the apartheid. Do you think Donald Trump ended the apartheid? Like, as in there's a Palestinian state right now? Yeah. Meanwhile, White House bureau chief at Washington Post, from the publication that now has a 3 million circulation, down from 24 million in 2021, comes this wonderful note. President Trump sits and takes questions after question from reporters in the Oval Office, something that almost never happened with President Biden. What executive orders have passed? So many. Too many to count. Many of them are stupid. Well, here's another wonderful take from Trump on Gaza.
Gaza, boy, I looked at a picture of Gaza. Gaza is like a massive demolition site. That place it's really got to be rebuilt in a different way.
Yeah, World Health Organization withdrawal, unlimited climate change. No, limited to climate change. Left the Paris Climate Accords.
Do you plan to help rebuilding Gaza?
I might. You know, Gaza is interesting. It's a phenomenal location. On the sea, best weather. You know, everything's good. It's like some beautiful things could be done with it, but it's very interesting. But some fantastic things could be done with Gaza.
When you hear a real estate developer say that, run, okay? This man wants to turn Gaza into a golf course. Oh, my God. Reevaluating and realigning United States foreign aid by the authority vested in me by the president as president by the Constitution and laws of the United States. The United States foreign aid industry and bureaucracy are not aligned with American interests in many cases, antithetical to American values. They serve to destabilize the world by promoting ideas in foreign countries that are directly inverse to harmonious and stable relations internal among countries. I think part of this is like NGOs that he's talking about that do like reproductive health rights and things of that nature. You know what I mean? He did this last time too, by the way, for those of you who don't know. He greatly limited aid to like African countries, like foreign aid that we were given to African countries. Some of that, ironically, is good and for soft power, and others are actually a complex web of espionage opportunities that we create with civil society organizations that we implement in other nations. So, you know, there's a little bit of both in there, just so you understand. This is part of the reason why a lot of people who are cranks in general will look to Donald Trump and be like, yeah, he's really curbing back to deep state. If you are wondering where those thoughts come from, this is part of the reason, because it is true. U.S. aid and also, you know, NGOs that we operate alongside, like that we give endowments to, operate alongside the State Department in an effort to create civil society organizations in foreign nations that we want to destabilize down the line. However, I do not believe that Donald Trump is even remotely interested in curbing the deep state. So let's continue. It is the policy of the United States that no further U.S. foreign assistance should be distributed in a manner that is not fully aligned. 90-day pause in the foreign development assistance assessment of programmatic efficiencies and consistency with U.S. foreign policy. All department and agency heads with responsibility for United States foreign development assistance programs shall immediately pause new obligations and disbursements of development assistance funds to foreign countries. Implementing NGOs, international organizations, and contractors pending reviews of such programs for programmatic efficiency. To be conducted in 90 days, the OMB shall enforce this pause. Reviews of foreign assistance programs, determinations. The responsible department and agency heads, in consultation with the director of the OMB, will make determinations within 90 days of this order on whether to continue, modify, or cease each foreign assistance program. All right, where is it? Okay, they may waive the pause. The Secretary of State may waive the pause. Okay, well, Marco Rubio will waive that pause for Israel, if that is even a part of this at all. Do you think he will pressure Pakistan to free Imran Khan? I feel like they had a good relationship. That would be awesome. That would be another marker for J.D. Pandon, permanent first world genocide. Maoist third world is J.D. Pandon. Freeing Imran Khan would be kind of funny. Yes, some of the aid that goes through Congress is different than what this program seeks to curb back. DC police officer attacked by the mob on January 6th. Just worked for 14 hours making sure Trump's inauguration was secure, peaceful, home, and got... Oh, my God. They're still doing the J6, man. Oh, my God. Give it up. Give it up. Give it up. Give it up. Move on. Move on. Move on. Move on. Donald Trump over here is like, I think the World Health Organization should implode. And these guys are like, dude, look at this cop that was at the Capitol on January 6th and was attacked by Donald Trump's cronies and is now finding out that it's their attackers are free.
He was in control. He knows what he wants to do, and he went right to work. I mean, he'll be here a little later than originally planned because he was taking questions from the press and signing executive orders. By the way, he took more questions today than Joe Biden did in 4 years.
I loved that he signed executive orders at the arena in front of the crowd. I loved when Fox was airing the two shots.
Wait, a PBS News posted poll on January 2025 that shows adult Americans 62% disapprove of Trump pardoning the January 6 convicts. Yeah, he's that ride or die for his most loyal fan base. Okay, what are you going to do about it? That's just the reality. What are you going to do about it? The greatest thing that you could have done, is defeat him. If you were competent, okay? This is what I'm trying to explain to people. Like Donald Trump will do things for his base, no matter how unhinged or insane it is. Democrats won't even give its base something that 80% of its base demands. Like 84% of Democrats were like, please give us a ceasefire, please. Let's do a ceasefire by denying weapons transfers, please. Anything, please. And the Democrats were like, no, best I can do is send Richie Torres the Dearborn. Donald Trump will literally, and I've said this so many times, I said this during the election cycle, I said this last time Donald Trump was running. Whenever there is a vote to be had, Donald Trump will go there, meet you where you're at, and tell you, all right, I'm going to give that to you. No matter how niche of a micro interest it may be, or no matter how insane it may be, okay? And the reality is that shows loyalty back to his constituents. Stuff like this plays well to his base at the end of the day. So everyone outside of the base, the 65%, many of which voted for him as well, will go, oh, he's doing it again. But a big chunk of that 65% that disapprove of this are still going to vote Republican. You understand? They are still going to vote Republican. Every single Republican that was polled on that said they disapprove of Donald Trump pardoning the January 6ers are going to suck it the fuck up and vote Republican. You want to know why? Because later down the line, Trump is going to do something for them. Okay? That's it. It might be that they hate trans people and Trump is going to do the fuck trans people bill. Okay? It might be because they, I don't know, they have they need fishing permits in a North Dakota river. And Donald Trump's like, oh yeah, I signed an executive order, or I went and talked to Doug Burgum and now we have fishing permits for the 500 people living in the North Dakotan village that really wanted that fishing permit. And they're going to go, okay, I'm voting for him. That's how he does. That's how he does it. Bro, this dude, secured votes in Maine because of, some unique random lobster dispute. Okay? He gave a random native tribe federal recognition, and now those guys are voting for him permanently. Okay? He does stuff like this all the time. Why are you hating on him? Why am I hating on him? Because he wants to do deportation of 20 million people living on U.S. soil that haven't done any fucking crimes whatsoever. And the only crimes that they crossed the goddamn imaginary line and now are infinitely more important and functioning members of society than someone such as yourself. That's why I think this is ruthless, cruel, unusual. And also, on top of that, he's going to obviously do massive tax cuts for the wealthy and corporations once again, when the opposite should be happening. Okay? Those are two top priorities for me, on top of curbing back reproductive rights for women and also signing an executive order day one that says, fuck trans people. Mass amounts of deregulation that will harm the American public, and also tax cuts. Cry bitch. Dog, I am in the class and category of people that will see material benefit from Trump's policies. You won't be. I don't know why you're telling me cry bitch. I at least have the foresight to recognize that these kinds of policies unironically destabilize the country and exacerbate wealth inequality. That's why I'm advocating against my immediate material benefits. You, on the other hand, don't own a deed to a factory, and yet here you are defending capitalism tooth and nail, like you got a fucking factory, like you got any assets whatsoever. The only asset you have to your name is a busted down 1997 Honda Civic that was a hand-me-down from your older brother, and he fucked in it, and you've never gotten pussy in it. For the rest of your life, you will never get pussy in it because you're busy working at the fucking Jack in the Box for $15 an hour. And here you are thinking, oh man, if I actually advocate for Republican policies, one day I'll be super wealthy too. It's so fucking stupid. It blows my mind. Work for your self-interest. Stop working against your self-interest, okay? Nah, dude, you don't get it. The next crypto rug pull, I'll be in on it. And I'll be the one pulling the rug from other dumbasses you say over and over again as you literally take out the remainder of your crumb of disposable income and lose it instantly. I don't think elitism is the shit. It is classless. Do you think I'm being an elitist? I'm explaining the situation. I'm saying that Donald Trump works against the interests of the working class. And if you come in here and defend that as a member of the working class, sometimes you need a little bit of a cold, hard pill to swallow. Anyway, I'm a sub and love you in your broadcast, but I'm resonating more with drink than you lately. You're right, because unfortunately for you, I don't think that we should melt homeless people or, keep prisoners in perma jail. I apologize. I care about some of the most fucked over people in society. Okay. Those are some of the most fucked over people in society. Thank you, Oh Zai, for the 100 gifted subs. Like, what is this? Explain further what you mean, please. I think the immigration issue is real. That's about it. Everything else, I agree with you. The immigration issue is real. How? Elaborate. Do you think that undocumented immigrants are actually responsible for an insane amount of crimes and they're just simply not being prosecuted? Or do you think it's a racist lie that Donald Trump has escalated over and over again, and with no pushback whatsoever from the supposedly anti-fascist side of the political equation, people have just taken it for granted and now believe it to be true? Because if you can't disagree with facts, okay? When people say undocumented migrants, or the immigration issue is real, you have to explain what you mean by that. Do you mean that they're doing a lot of crimes? Because that's what Donald Trump says. Maybe you agree with it, maybe you don't, but I can give you the facts on why that's not true. Do you think that they are stealing jobs from hardworking Americans? Okay, you might believe that. That's also not true. We can get into that. What exactly do you think is bad? Because I also think there is an issue with immigration in this country. Okay? I also think there's an issue with immigration in this country. But the problem is not that there isn't enough enforcement. The problem with immigration is that we don't have a process where we can easily and expeditiously document people and integrate them into the workforce. That's the real problem with immigration. But nobody wants to solve that problem because capitalists, capital owners, business owners that hire undocumented immigrants want to keep them undocumented so they can have two different tiers in the labor force that will actively depress the wages of the documented American labor force. Okay? No, I know he lied about the crime. I watched you daily. I know there was only 30 murders. I'm just broke. I do feel like I'm getting the short end of the stick. So yeah, that's the job thing. You think undocumented immigrants are taking your job? Like, you've been applying the jobs and it's Juan from Guatemala that took the job that you were applying for. That's what you think is going on? Is that what you think is happening? It's more complex than I can explain in chat from Hasan. It's hard to get my point across like this. I don't want to argue. I love your show, bro. Not your average Guatemalan says, to be fair, I did take their job. Brother, let me explain something to you, okay? Who do you think has more power in this process? Business owners who are constantly interested in lowering the American working class's wages and the politicians that work at their behest? Or random dudes from Guatemala and Honduras that are going over the border, trekking for hundreds, if not thousands of miles to go pick fucking agricultural crop for 3 cents an hour? Like, this blows my mind. We are so easily duped by this propaganda. It's so crazy to me that, like, people will be like, nah, it's not our bosses that are actively fucking us over. It's actually the dude from Guatemala that's fucking me over, dude. Doing a job that I would never do for price points that I would never even look at under conditions that I cannot fathom. Okay?
When Sean felt that the kids were starting to lose a connection with the greatness of the country and our history, in the schools and everywhere, and he put these concerts on, and they were the most wonderful concerts. And I came here tonight to say, will you please produce a couple of more of those concerts for the children of today?
You know what? I think that's a great.
The brilliant minds of the Trump. For the Hollywood celebrities who are fans of Trump. It's John Voight, isn't it? It's not Christopher Walken, chatters. He's John Voight, Angelina Jolie's dad. The narco violence is real, though. Yeah. You want to know how you stop the narco violence? By having a normal, documented migration process so that nobody fucking gives a $10,000 to a bunch of cartel guys to be snuck over the border. If you have the opportunity to go in, if you have the opportunity to go into the country through legal means, why would you not take it? That is my argument. So yes, restrictive border policies unironically line the pockets of the cartels. You know what else also helps the cartels? Having ridiculous criminal penalties for drugs in this country, and also simultaneously having an unrestricted amount of weapons in this country. If you truly want to tackle the issue of drug trafficking, you shouldn't be going after undocumented migrants. They're not the ones who are actually shipping the drugs over the border. Okay? You need better apprehension methods at our ports, that's for sure. But you also need to reshift your priorities to the people who are actually trafficking the drugs. And there's data readily available for this as well. Lo and behold, oh my God, according to the Department of Homeland Security, turns out 90% of the drugs that are being shipped over the borders are actually going through regular ports of entry. And lo and behold, the people that are shipping those drugs, the people that are trafficking those drugs, are not undocumented migrants. 80% of those who are apprehended at the border for trafficking drugs across the border are actually American citizens. So the narco trade is actually, one, supplied by a healthy number of American munitions and American arms that we can give to the cartels. That's number one. And also, it's trafficked by American citizens, and the market is American consumers. So it's all just Americans. Undocumented migrants play no role virtually in this process. Anyway, let's see what Dhoni's doing.
We're not sure quite what is happening. There are some people, looks like there are some officials right inside the door, so we may be seeing...
We trade our weapons for the drugs, for our Americans to consume. And Americans traffic the drugs over the border.
One of the people in the jail at the moment, she said she hadn't been told anything about being released. But very clear, it's unclear what is happening right now. I will tell you that Rachel Powell, some of the... watch there, Andrew. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Some of the people inside this prison are hoping to make it to the inaugural balls tonight. They have been told that if they are released... Back up. Yeah, okay. We're going to move down here, Anderson. We're going to move out of the way. All right.
Dhoni did the Zoomer speak. Move out of the way.
Unclear why there was such a rush to the doors of the jail right there. But there does seem there is something happening. There does appear to be some people right inside the main door.
Donnie, you've heard some of the people who may be released want to attend an inaugural ball tonight?
That is correct. So I got off the phone just 5 minutes ago, again from Rachel Powell, who is calling us from inside the jail. She told us that she has been in touch with people who, I believe, the Liberty Ball, and you can correct me, but the Liberty Ball, I think, is happening at the convention center. I believe Trump is speaking there tonight.
Dude, someone in the chat said it, but it's so perfect. This seems so similar to the pro-rape releases in Israel, just breaking the motherfuckers out. Bro, Israel and America is like this. They had their own January 6th, where they stormed the jails to release the rapist IDF soldiers who raped Palestinian prisoners to death. And now we got our own version of it, okay? To storm and free the January 6ers. Yeah, so, a new January 6th at the January 6th jail.
One, of course, was, we have video, and colleagues in the control room might be able to pull it up. She was caught on video with a pickaxe breaking a window at the Capitol. Look, in interviews with her, she says that she regrets that day. She regrets that action because she has children and grandchildren. But she ultimately still believes what she did was right, right? I mean, she ultimately still believes the election lies that brought her there. And she has appealed directly to Trump through the media and through everything else. And we're being moved back once more again, Anderson. So let's just move here a little bit.
And do you have a sense of how many supporters of
Hasan was wrong about this? Trump for sure was looking out for the January 6th people? Wait, what? What did I say about the January 6ers? I don't think I ever said that Trump wouldn't release them. What are you talking about?
It's been growing over the course of the evening. Just going to make sure Andrew Christman here doesn't fall. There we go.
It's good to protect
so yeah,
your
let's move back here actually to. Let's move back here to where the guys were gathered. It's very unclear what actually happened to make that surge towards the main doors of the jail. But I think people.
I think at most I probably said I didn't think some of the worst would get released. And I am genuinely, I think you said it would be funny if it did. I mean, it is funny. But I am shocked that he's releasing like Enrique Tarrio and some of the Oath Keepers. Ashley Babbitt is 4 years sober this month. Yeah, I definitely, I didn't think he would release like the worst of the worst. Like dudes who like actually fought cops and stuff, I genuinely thought he would not have released. I think that's pretty crazy. Like if your biggest crime is that you walked into I don't know, Nancy Pelosi's room and like tried to do a poop in her drawer or something, like that's still ridiculous, but that's like inherently not a violent crime, I guess. So like 4 years in prison is fine for that. Cause like what's the likelihood that you were going to do it again? You know what I mean? Are you a danger to yourself and others? Like, are you a serial pooper? I don't know. But like, if you actually went in with the intention of like kidnapping people and set up the insurrection and used, you know, used like a heavy object to bludgeon a cop with it, like I didn't think Trump would be like, yeah, you're good. Yeah, you're fine. It's fine. That's pretty crazy. Like, that to me is maybe a bridge too far. Not to be too much of a liberal, but I do think that that's wild that Trump was like, "No, I'm a prison abolitionist." Actually,
there's a lawn here where the activists have been gathering all evening. And now a big
before I like that Slatty Man said, "What's wrong with the cop thing?" Great question. If a black person did that at a Black Lives Matter rally, and some have, as a matter of fact, they get hit with 30 years in prison. And there is no way that anyone is getting them out of prison. Okay? So that's what I mean by that. That's assault with a deadly weapon against a police officer. Like, there's no shot. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's never going to happen.
So, yeah, unclear as to still what is happening. Look, even within my line of sight here, Ashley Babbitt's mom.
Okay, Donnie, we're going to come back to you.
In the Capitol.
Donnie, we're going to come back to you. Michael Fanone, I believe we have contact with. Michael, I appreciate you being with us. I'm wondering when you heard the news and what's going through your mind tonight.
I just heard the news from your producers a few moments ago.
I got to pee.
I mean, the only thing that that's going through my mind right now is that this is what the American people voted for. Donald Trump has been promising these pardons ever since he announced his candidacy in Waco, Texas, the scene of one of the most notorious battles between American law enforcement and the American extremist movement that resulted in the death of numerous law enforcement officers. Thanks, America.
This feels like a betrayal to you.
Oh, I have been betrayed by my country. Rest assured, I have been betrayed by my country, and I've been betrayed by those that supported Donald Trump. Whether you voted for him because he promised these pardons or for some other reason, you knew that this was coming, and here we are. Tonight, 6 individuals who assaulted me as I did my job on January 6th, as did hundreds of other law enforcement officers, will now walk free. 6 individuals who have threatened my life and who have made threats towards my family members, as well as countless other January 6th defendants who have threatened me because they see me as a spokesperson for law enforcement for this event. My family, my children, and myself are less safe today because of Donald Trump and his supporters.
When you hear the president of the United States, Donald Trump, talking about back the blue, or his supporters saying that they back the blue, you don't buy that?
From a dog-eat-dog world to a hog-eat-hog world, Anderson. I thought these were brothers in bond. I thought they would never come for me. And let me tell you, I was shocked. When I opened the Capitol Rotunda doors to them, I thought this would be a peaceful transfer of power. And it turns out it was not so peaceful when I got hit in the head with the Kekistani flag. That's right, flagpole, showing stars and bars, which I have one at home as well. But the other one, the Kekistani flag, as the kids are calling it, that was a bridge too far.
When it comes to supporting or their supposed support of law enforcement, because tonight the leader of the Republican Party pardoned hundreds of violent cop assaulters.
You were pardoned today, and we should know President Biden said it was not for committing a crime, it was for stepping forward to testify about January 6th. Did you know about that in advance? What do you think about that? And are you concerned for the safety of your family?
I had no communication with the White House or anyone else, for that matter, regarding a potential pardon or presidential pardon. I mean, all I can say is that I think it's a sad commentary on where we are as a nation, that a sitting president thought it necessary to issue a preemptive pardon to a witness in a congressional investigation, because the subject of that investigation is now the president, and it promised to pursue politically motivated revenge. Again, it's just more examples of the outrageous behavior of the current president of the United States. As far as concern for my family and my family's safety, I've been concerned for myself and my family's safety ever since I testified before Congress. If you remember, I didn't even make it through my congressional testimony before I received my first threat from a member of the American public who called me and threatened my life literally as I was giving testimony. And those threats have continued to this day against both myself and members of my family. In recent months, my mother has been swatted, a 76-year-old woman who's guilty of nothing other than having a son, a police officer who responded to the Capitol on January 6th. And she's also had human feces.
Okay, I'm done. Don't you think China's prepared for this, and that's why they're boosting Trump, just waiting for Western democracy to implode so they can pick up the pieces? Maybe. But, I mean, Donald Trump did a lot of damage to America's soft power, but I've maintained the position that Joe Biden actually somehow, what? Lol, how the F do you know what the undocumented immigrants are doing? Answer, you don't. Look how many rapes, murders, crimes, etc. go unsolved every year, bro. Had to wait 10 minutes to post this. I know you're off the subject. Okay. I suspect that it'll take 10 minutes for your brain to process the information I'm about to deliver to you. Okay. If there are 26,000, let's say, murders a year that happen, are investigated, and the actual criminals responsible for it are apprehended. Okay. And only 26 of them are undocumented. Okay. This is what we know from convictions and arrests. Let's say that there are 30,000 murders total, and only 26,000 of them have been, 26,000 of them have led to an arrest, a conviction, and only 26 of them are undocumented. Does that lead you to believe that the 6,000 unsolved murders are automatically undocumented? Or do you think that the percentage would probably be around the same, like of the documented versus undocumented responsible for the crimes? Let's look up the numbers instead of spewing from your ass. Well, that's actually a really funny thing that you just stated, because while I actually tried to give you numbers that are relatively even, so it's easier for you to do the math, I actually was right on the money with the number of undocumented murders, for example. The number is 29. And the overall homicide and manslaughter cases in the United States of America is around, what, 20,000? So, you know, I was fairly within the confines of what the actual numbers are. But I know the actual numbers It seems like you don't. So why do you have this kind of energy? Go on, please. I just did. I explained it to you. In the fiscal year of 2024, 24 murders and homicide. Or 29, sorry. Murders and homicide, which include homicide and manslaughter. Which includes like car accidents and stuff too. Like killing in the process of a car accident. Okay? Let's look at total criminal convictions by type in 2024. Okay? Oh, this is the victimization survey. Does anyone have the number? I want to pull it up quickly. I don't want to get it wrong. What? Compare predates the immigration crisis? Wait, what? Missing and murdered indigenous women? No, that's not what I'm looking for, man. They're going to move the goalposts like bots? No, it's important. This is good. Okay? This is good for people to understand. This, by the way, doesn't even mean undocumented. It means non-citizen, as in some of them are undocumented, some of them are documented migrants like tourists, things of that nature, right? So it's 29. The number total of arrest convictions for manslaughter and homicide is 29. The total number of homicides that take place in the United States of America in the year 2024 was 24,000. Okay, it's a pretty high number. Now let's look at the conviction numbers. Okay, let's see. Conviction for homicide in 2024. Trends in homicide. What do we know? Okay, homicide rates, homicide victimization age group. That's just homicides, not including manslaughter. I know. Why is this not easier to just find the actual data that I'm looking for? It's so fucking annoying. Oh my God. I wish there was just like one place where they had all of this data from the same year. I Google stuff and the first thing that comes up is like from 2021. The next thing that comes up is from 2023. Okay. Oh, the data says it's from 2022. Okay. All right. Let's look at 2022 then for that matter. Okay. 62. It's a much higher number. Okay. 2022 number of homicides for the year 2022 is 24,000. Okay. 24,000. So 60 out of the 24,000 was done by an undocumented migrant. Well, technically these are convictions. So they probably are homicides from the year prior, but like the numbers don't change that much. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it doesn't really, unless there's a massive swing year over year in terms of homicides or in terms of convictions of homicides, it doesn't matter. You can look at virtually any year and make the same exact assessment. Okay. Number of reported murder and non-negligent. No, I'm not looking at reported numbers. I'm looking at arrests and convictions. Okay. I want to compare apples to apples now. And this is the crime clearance rate. No, I don't want crime. Okay, well, I guess we can make an assessment off of that as well. But where is it? Murder and non-negligent manslaughter has a 57.8% crime clearance rate in the United States. So that means out of the 20,000, 10,000 of them have been cleared. And out of the cases of 10,000 that have gotten a conviction, okay, or 12,000, only 60 of them were non-citizens, as in some of which were tourists, some of which were undocumented migrants, some of them were documented migrants. Okay? So looking at this data, if it's only 60 out of the 12,000, okay, you cannot make an assessment that the 43% is all undocumented migrants. You can't just do that. That's not how anything works. Okay? That's not how this works at all. You can't, unless you have some evidence that undocumented migrants are incredible criminals, like the best criminals that you have ever seen in your entire life, where they just keep doing murders like crazy, okay? And they're responsible for 40% of, if they're responsible for 100% of the unsolved murders, okay, it obviously means that they are most likely responsible the same level. Their same the same per capita murder rate, which is very low, incredibly low in comparison to the documented and natural born U.S. citizen number of murders and assaults and manslaughters and all different kinds of crimes. And for the record, if your counter to me is going to be, well, what about rapes?